Today I will be working on my Maytag Neptune washer. The problem is with the pumps, it makes a terrible noise. This is a model MAH4000AWW. The problem that's going on with the washer is with the pumps. I've turned the water off so it's not going to fill. But so at a certain point, the pump makes a terrible noise. Now it sounds like the second pump is also seized. So that's the problem we're having. I've already started to take it apart. So Neptune apart is there's 4 screws. I only got 3 removed. I'm going to take the front out to get to the pump, or try to. This is what the door looks like. So you kind of have to work that out from there. And then once you get that, this pulls straight off and up, and that is out. The problem at hand, so actually it might be easier to the back, is the pump there should be the drain pump, and then the recirculation pump on the Neptune is back there. And this is the inside of the Neptune, and why I have this apart, still very clean around the gasket, and the reason for that is when I'm not using a washer, I leave the door open, let it dry out. It prevents this from molding over, and it really ruined the reputation of a great machine, but this machine's an old machine, and I don't want to get rid of it. So we'll fix it. Alright, so I ended up getting the washer moved. I'm not going to disconnect the water, shouldn't need to. I need to remove these. This isn't labeled, but I'm almost positive this is a 1/4 inch nut driver. 2 there, 2 there. Just a FYI, there's a small screw, goes in the bottom, and there's a large screw, which actually has a Phillips blade on it, which goes in the top. So when you go to put this back together, remember, top gets the big screws. Yeah, it's much easier in the back. So there's our pumps. So this is the recirculation pump. That goes and feeds water back. So what will happen, they're both connected to the same pipe. I don't feel any obstructions in there, that's good. Water will sit between there and a T. That will kick on. Water will recirculate back into the drum. Looks pretty good. Why does it look like it's been drilled? That's weird. That is weird. I never noticed that before in my washer. There's a hole there. Huh. I don't see any water, so not sure what that's about. But yeah, so I'm gonna take both these motors out, and if I'm not mistaken, they just come right out. They're not actually fixed in there. Let's see. Before you do anything, make sure you know where the wires go. So red top, yellow bottom on the drain pump, white towards the front, black towards the back. I don't know if it matters, it's AC, but I don't feel like looking up the directions on Maytag's website. Let's see. That fits on there, so we can loosen that hose. So that hose is now loose. Water might come out. Ew, that's gross. Poop colored water. Ah, this looks bigger. Yeah, those are bigger, but it's a flathead, so let's grab the flathead. Don't even need to. Took the screwdriver bit out, so I'm not sure what size this is, but it appears to be compatible. So I'm gonna loosen these two pumps. And there might be water in there. And you could take a shop vac and try to suck on, yeah, there's water in there. There's water, so let me grab a towel. Well, I was sitting there trying to get the towel and it came apart and I found the problem. There's jewelry in there. But I still want to take a look at this pump because it seems seized. So we'll still get them out. And let's just loosen this. Let's just get the water over with. There is a trap in there to prevent drain back. I'm weird. Yeah, see there's a little drain in there, prevent water from getting back in, which is good because you think that's wastewater and it shares. So, I'll clean this up in a second. Get these unhooked. So, come on. Come on, baby. There we go. It's coming. There we go. So there's the problem. Jewelry stuck in the pump. So we'll put that aside. I knew that had to be something. That's a brand new pump. I replaced that within a year just to be safe. Now how can I get this? There we go. I heard it click. Oh, so it's got one of those. So there's both the pumps to get them out. Dry this off a little. So I don't see any other obstructions in there. So that's that. Now we just gotta clean out the pumps. Alright, so this is the recirculation pump. So instead of trying to rip this bracket out like I did, because it has that, you can actually push down on that. So I don't know if you can see here. Push down and it slides off. That way you don't need to rip this bracket out like I did, but I didn't have the factory service manual readily available, so I'm sure it said something about that. So it's the recirc pump. There's a few screws holding this together. So I'm gonna grab a Torx driver. Try to open up these pumps. Found this T10 that appears to work. So it's just a matter of removing the 3 and then opening it up. Alright, I got the 3 screws removed and there it is. That was the problem. So that appears to turn nicely. So I got the recirculation pump open. And so this seems to be turning pretty well. But I do want to take this one apart because it's older. To take the motor apart, take the gasket off and then gently lift up here. And it should lift out the motor. And ooh, that is something gross. And there's a gasket there, so be careful. So I'm going to clean this gunk out and clean it and put it back together and see if it works better. Because this is at least the cheapest I found was $70 on eBay. So, and I don't really trust eBay parts. So I'm gonna clean this out and put it back together. So I'm just taking a look at this pump. This is as clean as I can get it. But I do see it's a little rotted out on the bottom, some rust. So moisture has been getting in there, which makes sense. I mean, it doesn't look like a terribly reliable bearing like on the pump shaft here. I mean, I see what looks like a bearing, but I don't think that it's a real good one, so this may need to be replaced down the road. I cleaned off this as best as possible, but again, I see evidence that it's been exposed to water for a while. I see that's, I cleaned it out as best as I could, and ideally what this would do is, I mean, well, obviously it gets water down in this piece. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up a little bit more and put it back together. This may be overkill, but I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna put a dab of machine oil down there. So there's some machine oil down there, and actually, yeah, so that's in there in that bearing, which will go against there. So let me put this back together. Remember to lubricate the seal there so it slides in easily. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of the machine oil on there too. So it seems to be nice. Moves smoothly, so I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the rest of the pump. Remember, since I took that apart, there's that. The other pump should be similar. I'm not gonna take that apart again. Again, I bought that pump less than 2 years ago. I just replaced it because it was getting loud, and I've never had a problem with this one, so that's why I wanted to take it apart. This is original to the Maytag. You can see the rust on there, whereas this one looks spanking new still, except for a little bit of the dirt there from just natural use. So, and then I'm gonna try to find a way to test this. I do want to test it. All right, both the machine pumps are back together, and thankfully it's a 120 volt AC 40 watt pump. So that means all I gotta do is apply power to those 2 terminals and should spin. And the most dangerous way to test a pump, but what I did is I took a computer power cord, cut it, and connected the line voltages to the pump. And let's see if I kill myself here. So it looks good. Pump works nice and quiet. So the way I tested that, I just put 2 pieces and just threw them in a hole there. Not safe, but it gets the job done. So I can confirm that this pump works, and I pressure checked it simply by blowing into the tube and held it. I dishwashed it, so there's no air leaking, so I know it's gross. I put the 2 wires on the other side. Again, let's see if I don't kill myself. Nice and quiet. So, looks like the pumps are good. So, I'm going to reassemble them. Alright, I made sure the washer looks pretty dry. I'm not gonna make it perfect. There's still water in that tube, so I want to keep that tube elevated as long as possible. The drain pump. And you'll see, by the way, the drain pump rotates out. You'll see how the holes are a little bit longer on the bottom, so it should be a matter, slip the pump in and rotate it. Get these wires out of the way, because I'm going to try to be quick so I don't drip more water. Hopefully it's at a certain point where it won't. So, there we go. That looks nice and flush. And make sure these are all nice and flush in there. And then just tighten them up. Don't over tighten them. Alright, so I got the drain pump installed. So all we got left is the recirculation pump. Now, if you have an MAH4000, you will never have this pump unless you put it in, which means you probably have a 4000 upgrade. As you can see, there we go. So much easier with 2 hands. Those aren't going anywhere. That's snapped in, that's snapped in. Alright, I double checked. White towards the front, black towards the back. and goes like that. So we got that connected. Last one to connect is this. That one used a smaller nut driver. There we go. And otherwise, that's the Maytag put back together. I'll push the button here. Sounds pretty good. So I'll plug it in and do a wash cycle and see if it fixed it or if I broke it. The Neptune back together. Again, 4 screws there, or 2 screws here on the door. And once you put the panel back on, the panel goes in the same way it came out. I don't tighten it all the way because I like to make sure that they're good. So let's put that screw in. Now I didn't show you on the other side because I already had it apart from earlier, but these go in. These will come out when you take it apart, or should. And they go in the same way the door goes in. There's 2 of them. And 2 screws. So now that the washer is back together, 4 screws, door is solid. And of course there's a light bulb there if you ever want to fix that. If you have a Maytag Neptune, I don't like it, so it's burnt out. Closes, let's plug this back in. Now I'm just gonna test these out first. Sounds like it's draining quietly. Yeah. That's a good sign. It's quiet now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick wash. Hold, reset, doesn't matter. And nice action there. But there you have it. The Neptune appears to be fixed, ready to serve more time. By chance, if this is the first time you've had to do anything to your washer and dryer, and it's been a while since you've maintained your dryer, I strongly encourage you to clean out your vent if you haven't done so in a while. And I'll make a separate video on how to clean the Maytag dryer. But otherwise, appears to be a rock solid washer once again. Goes to show they don't make them like they used to. It's nice and quiet now, just like it was before when draining.